Oh, a video game episode, huh? Interesting proposal.
Yeah,
We
sure,
have no
why
history
not?
with that.
None. What are
No.
video games?
No,
I
there was
hate
never a
video
video game show with any people on this show.
Yeah,
That
wasn't.
never happened.
No, never happened.
I never sat through someone reading off a Wikipedia article all about different PC games I never touched because for some reason this person thought I was ancient.
You're in the post-crisis timeline where that show never happened.
This
This
is
erased from
Flashpoint Phantom Zone.
Well, no, it's that when the universes merged after Crisis, that certain aspects of certain people were then given to other members of our cast now.
Oh,
yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah.
so when I punched the fourth wall, this is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now John's part of the show. And
Yeah.
that was.
Yeah, I'm just
It's
That
like
was
he's always been there.
I'm holding on to my one. I get to call somebody an asshole while we're recording.
I should start
I
going
already
back
used mine,
and-
so
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I used mine already. It was fantastic. How do I sound? I feel like I'm probably not connecting very well.
No, you're connecting well. We decided
Hey,
last
okay.
week we aren't going to do traditional intros anymore, so we're just waiting for the show to start now. We're just
Oh, well, I was kind of like treading water. I'm like, we'll roll into the introductions that no one seems to want to do at the moment.
Oh,
Yes.
you mean that thing that you vaguely alluded to last time, Arlen, and now we're supposed to take it as Bible truth?
no, it was
Weren't you like-
Connor who was like, "We're not doing. That's just fuck it. Let's just not do intros anymore."
I was like, who cares?
Can I say I'm very confused right now?
It's fine.
Welcome to the Phantom Zone podcast.
That's to be expected.
Yeah.
I have an introduction I'd like to get out, if that's okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm America's boyfriend, Hunter Davenport, and I'd rather watch the two bad Matrix movies than a single Harry Potter movie.
I have many problems with that
Couldn't
statement.
even do that without wounding me, you son of a bitch.
There's only one bad Matrix movie.
This is true.
This is true. All right.
Yeah,
Is
this
it
was
the
not
second or
planned
the
that I would bring
third
Eric
one?
on to support me, but it just worked out that way. That we both agree that there's only one bad Matrix movie. So hey,
Which one is the bad one to you guys?
number three, because it's
Okay.
trash.
Okay.
It's trash. Yeah.
I can't disagree with that because the second one still has things that are decent about it, but you can see it's like, hey, we've changed our trajectory to that dumpster over there. Let's head towards it, guys.
I hold. There's a joke I heard a long time ago that I kind of believe. It was, if you gave me a butter knife and both cuts of Matrix 2 and 3, I could make you one cohesive movie.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I don't disagree with that. I think we said something like that on the Lost Horror podcast
Yes.
episode. I think we came to that conclusion eventually, which is that
Gave me a
Matrix 3 is
spoon.
it's just a lot of stuff that you don't really need. So
No lie, when I was working third shift at a gas station when the third Matrix movie came out, there was a guy who came in and he and I would talk about movies, and he was saying that the Matrix trilogy is better than the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
And that man has brain damage.
He was adamant about this fact, and I'm like, dude, you are on crack. There is no way. It's like, no, it's subversive and it's got all this, and I'm like,
Here's the big problem with trying to compare anything to the Lord of the Rings trilogy, especially with the second and third one. There's like 2.5 good movies in each of those movies.
Okay, that dude licked the doorknob and died of COVID-19. Like, that's for sure he's dead right now.
No, he's somebody who's showing up at like town hall meetings and talking about how like we can't have our children breathing in waste products that come from their lungs. It's they were put on this earth by God to live, not to be set free by death from these men, and so on and so forth. Just rambling idiocy. That's the type of person he is at this point.
Not being able to go to my favorite restaurant is tyranny.
I want a haircut.
No, I want someone else to give me a haircut because I don't want to have to go to work.
Anyway, this is an episode about video games.
Video games. Hey,
video games.
Is everyone going to buy?
What was that?
Is everyone going to buy that new modern art piece that's coming out?
The Seto Kaiba console?
You mean the PS5 brought to you by Wish?
Yeah, the Samuel Hayden console.
Yeah.
Getting GLaDOS.
I'm gonna wait. Like, I want to get one of the new systems when they come out. It's just it's something that Lewis said in the chat before, is like he doesn't see how things can look that much better compared to what the Xbox One X is right now, and I don't necessarily disagree with him at this point, so I kind of want to wait and see.
And the funny thing is they keep trying to sell these, like, they're like, graphics. I'm like, it's not going to be that much better.
I just built a PC, and, like, I don't see that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I don't see really any need to buy one immediately. I mean, as long as they're committed to multiple ports, like, I just don't see me buying one at launch, honestly.
They haven't even announced prices yet either, have they?
I don't think so.
No, that's a touchy subject for them, apparently.
My thing is that I'm essentially locked into buying an Xbox because Hellblade 2 is a Microsoft exclusive, and I'm not missing that.
Also, Game Pass is a big Microsoft selling point.
Yes.
That too. I think my digital library is like priceless at this point. Like, I don't play 90% of it, but the fact that it's there and I have it is awesome.
I was listening to Video Game Apocalypse today, Connor, and they were talking about how Xbox being a single ecosystem where you can get every game you've ever owned is such a huge selling point that the PS5 at this point, like, is lacking already. It's like you own every game you bought on Xbox 360, and it's
some of my Xbox original titles I can get access to.
Yeah, I can play KOTOR right now on my Xbox One.
Yeah, and Sony's like, backwards compatibility.
100 most played PlayStation games.
Yeah. Well, that, and they can't even get their shit together enough to figure out what Spider-Man Miles Morales is.
I saw 2 articles today, and they were both 9 hours apart, and one of them said Spider-Man Miles Morales is a standalone game, and the other one said Spider-Man Miles Morales is a DLC expansion.
Did you see the one that says it's both?
Oh God!
What?
Yeah, no, I saw one earlier. I think it was from it was some third D-list site where it's like it's both, and I was like, come on, guys.
Oh, what, like Gaming Wavos, the one that always seems to have their
Dual Shock Boys or something like that.
Oh God.
Anyway, what have we all been playing?
Who wants to go first?
I've been playing Stardew Valley mostly. I fell off of Animal Crossing so hard.
So you moved from one farming simulator to the next farming simulator.
Yeah, but Stardew Valley is more like it's better.
It's more than just farming.
I like.
Is there a raccoon who holds you hostage for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I don't want to pay. I don't want to be in debt to a raccoon. That's it. Or a man.
What other animal would you rather be in debt to?
A possum. Definitely a possum. Maybe a llama. Alpaca, for sure.
Fucking wild ass question.
I was just trying to think of what wrestler is most animal-like that I would like to be in debt to, but there's none of them. So,
I mean, Animal, Road Warrior Animal.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. A Big Boss Man. I would like to owe him money.
He's dead.
Exactly. So I don't owe anybody anything.
You got a point.
I mean, you could say the $1 Million Man because he doesn't actually have any real money. So
all he has is Christ and cheating on his wife. That's it.
And Virgil, for some reason. Virgil is still hanging out.
I think Virgil's been cast aside by everybody. There's a great picture of him at a convention, all by himself, in the middle of absolutely nothing, at a table. It just says Virgil.
Oh, poor guy.
Nobody there.
Oh.
I have never touched Stardew Valley. I don't really know what it is.
I remember Dan Reichert was obsessed with that game, and he got his wife obsessed with it, and then proceeded to get a decent amount of the people on the Giant Bomb staff playing it.
It's very it is story driven for the most part, which is interesting. But it's also the freedom you get in that game is not like most farming simulators, I'll call them. It's just a really well made game. Send up to Harvest Moon. And I don't know, I just really enjoy it.
You can make beer in that game too, if I remember correctly.
You can make beer.
In this story, do you fight a big blocky dragon called the Ender Dragon, and that's apparently your main objective?
No, but there are forest sprites that exist in an old, broken down community center, which is amazing.
Villagers that go, huh?
Yes, pretty much.
Oh, I know the forest sprites. I was telling them all about why I keep 30 tabs on my computer.
You can also, I discovered that you can also dig through people's trash and find food and eat it, which is great.
Fuck.
Like real life.
Nice.
Like
Arlen, it's our game. I told you all about this when we were at
There's so much spaghetti everywhere.
Found a plate of spaghetti outside the office.
Put it in the fridge. We're saving it for later.
Listen, if Mayor Hagar can find a whole roast chicken in a garbage can.
Those people must be just like houses full of bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or they live in a utopian society, and it's actually us seeing how they treat the people who are downtrodden. They just put whole roast chickens out for them.
Yeah, and in Castlevania, they hide them
Here, poor people.
Oh, they hide them in walls.
Yeah, in Castlevania. So
yeah. I don't understand how that works though, because if it's encased in stone,
you just need to have a very specific kind of whip, and you're good.
Okay. That
Not the ones that pop out of arcade machines.
Yes, that too.
The fridge.
Yeah, they're made mostly of electrodes. What have you been playing recently, Connor?
Oh god, you know what? Skyrim, and it's been the most productive jump back into that game I think I've ever had.
I've been feeling that tug too, but go ahead.
The thing is, I modded it too on the Xbox, and I got this thing called, I told you guys about the chat, it's Swiss Weathers or something like that, or Nordic Weather, with a retexture mod, and the game has never looked prettier in my eyes. You can stand and look over the horizon, there's these big fucking thick mists that just roll over everything. There's, when the sun goes down, everything turns bright red from the sunset. There's awesome aurora borealis, this is wherever you pronounce that, all over the place. The weather's more intense. When it starts to snow, you really can't see too far ahead of you. Rain feels cold and wet, like it should, and not just like an effect. But yeah, I'm actually doing a thing where I'm not trying to use fast travel a lot, so I'm finding all this shit I've legitimately never seen before.
Nice.
Did you install the Clean Faces mod?
No. What the fuck is?
Do you not know
dirty asses?
Do you not know about the horny Skyrim mods?
Yeah, dude. There's some weird ones.
Dude, it gets fucking like people get really intense about Skyrim.
Oh, what was that?
My mic over.
Oh
shit. Oh no.
No, but I did grab a, what is it? There's a couple weapon mods I grabbed. So I have the Soul Reaver, I have a couple Dark Souls weapons, and I had the Cloud Strife Sword, which I immediately deleted because it clips to the floor when it's on your back.
Oh, God.
That checks out.
I did find a random-ass cave where someone was like, hey, hello, fellow adventurer. So someone in here is experimenting on spiders, so I'm going to leave. Have fun. It's like, oh, well, I'm not going to just turn around and walk away now when you led me with someone experimenting on spiders.
God, I remember when I first started playing that game, like, I had a visceral reaction to when the spiders first showed up. Like,
me too.
God, I can't do this.
I think the problem is they're not like fantasy spiders. They're featureless and just black shapes or something like that. Or, you know, I'm defining. They're hairy and gross, and you can see their eyes and big giant fangs, and they make awful noises. I hate it. I hate all of them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Also got a mod called Legendary Monsters, which does this. It adds the Fallout 4 feature of having like bigger, tougher enemies, and I was gonna pass across some water, and like I'm looking at it from above, and I see this big fucking shape in the water. I'm like, I don't know what that is. Never seen that before. I get closer. You remember the slaughterfish that are in the water all the time?
Mm-hmm.
God.
I found one called a monstrous slaughterfish, and it was bigger than me.
Oh my God.
I ran so fast, I was legitimately terrified.
I might actually need to start playing again tomorrow. I still have it downloaded and I have it on my Xbox, so I might as well. Shit.
My last
It's still a crashy,
like
buggy
when-
mess at times.
Oh yeah.
my
I
last.
remember.
Oops,
Oh, go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was about to say my last run through of Skyrim, I did all the house building stuff. And that is like my I think honestly that is my favorite DLC that Bethesda's ever done. Because like
Hunter did a retirement build.
yeah, I did actually. It was crazy.
The music from Red Dead plays.
I just there's so much detail in that DLC, and I really really hope they do a variant of that in the next Elder Scrolls.
Oh well, that won't be out until like 2030. So
We'll be all
okay.
dead by the time it comes out, and it will still run the same engine that Fallout and Skyrim currently do.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, maybe the that space game that's supposed to come out will eventually come out before then. Even though that's
Sure
never
it will.
happening. Yeah.
You mean the Outer Worlds? Or
Pretty much.
Arlen, are you still jumping into conflicts in Assassin's Creed and just making the Athenians look like shit?
No, I got bored of that. I've been playing Control mostly.
I got bored destabilizing an entire country.
Well, also the story from the DLC that I got for an insane price, insanely low, just to be clear. It was very heavy, and I had to like step away from it for a little bit.
Okay.
So what
I
did you say
started
you've been playing now?
Control.
Oh, Control. Nice.
Yeah, which I
Oh man,
bought.
somebody else. I gotta get on this.
You really do, because I think it's definitely your kind of game. But I think it's an everybody kind of game also.
Yes.
I also took that dive into like the SCP stuff like 2 weeks ago, so that's kind of fresh in my brain. I heard this is kind of inspired by that or something.
100%.
It is
Okay.
heavily inspired.
Yes.
It's awesome.
There's a lot of stuff. Like there are many influences, and they wear a lot of them on their vests. Very prominently.
Good.
Yeah, strong game, strong gameplay. So some of the visuals are just amazing, like the graphics and the way that they the characters are displayed on screen. Some of it blew me away, and I'm rocking like the just regular Xbox, so I can't imagine what it's like on an X.
You've met the custodian, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. He is my favorite character in anything.
He's pretty great.
Yes.
I got Log Lady vibes from him.
He's very Lynchian.
Yeah, there's some very heavy, like, from what I remember, I haven't watched all of Twin Peaks, but what I remember of Twin Peaks, like, there's very much a Lynchian Twin Peaks vibe going on through the whole thing.
I remember Alan Wake was like that too, because when you hit that diner, there was a bunch of very Lynchian characters in that fucking place.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really a spoiler, like, it's something you can find as an Easter egg, but yeah, the Control is supposed to be taking place in the same universe as Alan Wake.
I've heard, because I've heard Alan Wake is in the game.
So, yes and no. But
Yeah.
Dr. Darling is the same actor who plays Alan Wake.
Oh God, I can't wait until you get to a certain point with Dr. Darling. It's God. You'll know it when you get there, but Hunter, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say dynamite.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad Remedy released a game that people like, because Quantum Breaks was apparently an absolute turd.
Oh, that game was painful.
I think that game was too ambitious. I think that was its problem.
Well, the 360 just wasn't powerful enough to do what they wanted to do with that.
No. Like the what's his face? Chris Parnell? Is that the guy? No. Who's the guy who plays the
Yes.
Littlefinger?
Are you talking about Littlefinger?
Yeah, he's in that game. Chris Parnell,
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
same person.
I have downloaded that one because that one and Alan Wake are both on Game Pass, and
He is really good in that game.
Yeah.
And what's his face? The guy who was in Fringe and the guy who's the concierge in John Wick is also in. Yeah, I can't remember his name. He's also the voice.
Oh, I know you're talking about. Yeah.
He's the voice of one of the main guardians in Destiny 2.
Reddick?
Yeah, I think that's right.
That sounds right.
Yeah, he's great.
I kind of wish that Max Payne 3 would. I know that's not Remedy anymore, but it's Rockstar. I wish that would fucking mosey on over to backwards compatibility somewhere. I know I bought it digitally, but I don't have access to it.
Nope.
I could see all of those games getting released soon, honestly.
Yeah, very easily.
It's like my favorite action game in the last 15 years, like just story driven stuff.
Max Payne 3. I don't know. Arlen, have you played Max Payne 3?
No,
but I've shown him enough about it to the point where he's like, okay, I need this. Like,
genuinely, I think Arlen would love that game.
Once I told him about the Tony Scott influences.
Oh yeah. It is one of the best games out of that generation. Honestly, it's so good, and the fact that it's not playable on any other console is kind of a crime.
The story in that game beats the absolute fuck out of you for about 95% of it, and then gives you like a win, quote unquote, and then you're like, I guess that's as good enough a win as Max can get.
Yeah, it looks intense.
Yeah, Eric, have you been playing anything new or interesting recently?
I did finish Control not too long ago, so big fan of that too.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
It's a fun time. I've been playing obsessively one game at a time to the current quarantine. I did Control first, got the platinum on Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn it.
You don't have to do everything in that game to get it, fortunately, but yeah, I did like it. It's really good too. No Origins, but still pretty good.
Thank you.
Hey, I was going to say, Origins and Odyssey are a shocking turnaround for that series, because after annualized titles beat it up. I played Syndicate and I didn't really like it. I didn't like the control scheme, and the first few hours I was really, really bored. Then Origins comes along and doesn't even give you 30 seconds before you're thrust in this super intense revenge story. I think the first thing you do in that game is stab someone in the throat with a spear.
Yeah. Well, that was
right.
That was my thing when I first started playing Origins. Was I was like, wait, did I somehow skip something? Because
I thought the same thing.
Because the way the game opens up,
Yeah.
it throws you in kind of right away, and you're just like, where's the backstory? And I mean,
I thought something glitched. I thought the disc I put in was broken or something.
It really throws you in there. I get why they did it, because it was it was the first Assassin's Creed since what was the last one?
Syndicate, I believe.
I think Syndicate was.
So, Unity.
Yeah. Unity. It was the first one since they went on hiatus. So it was such a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense that they would bury the lead a little bit.
Funny story about
But
a cutscene, though.
Urge is 30 minutes in, an hour in, you get to basically one of the most violent points, and you have those games.
Oh yeah,
and then you're immediately super motivated with the character, and it gets going, and you're all in just from that point on. It's great. I think Bayek is probably my favorite game character for a long time. I just really loved his story.
Well, yeah, they did a really good job of making him seem conflicted about what was going on. He knows he has to get revenge for his son, but he's also this is a lot of blood I'm spilling, man. I don't know if I'm cool with all this.
Yeah. He also he unwittingly steps into a giant conspiracy and involving a shadow organization essentially, and it's fucking huge compared to his his personal mission. Funny story about skipping a cutscene, though. Was at some point you get buried in sand in that game towards the halfway point, I think.
Yes.
And I went to meet the guy who betrays you and does that, and just slipped or something, hit a button, the screen went black, and I wake up and I'm chin deep in sand. I was like, "What happened?"
So Bayek has more character than Ezio ever had, and he gets all that character within the first 10 hours.
I do like Ezio, but Ezio's very uncle, buongiorno, hello, miss.
It's me.
Oh my god. Ezio had, 5 games? It was like...
Something like that.
And he doesn't have really much motivation other than I'm an assassin now.
Yeah.
It also doesn't change outside of getting old.
Yeah. For me at least recently, I've been getting deep into Destiny 2 again as much as you can as a single player.
Oh no, I can't. I will get sucked in so hard. That's why I don't pick up that game anymore.
There's something about just the grind and the way the game is set up compared to part 1 that I really like. Like, even like, all right, so I've got to do these 13 different things to get this exotic weapon. I'm in. I'm doing it. I have to do all of this now because I've already done like 3 of them.
Destiny has had the biggest turnaround of any series I've ever seen. It's like
when I played Destiny 2 last update, the last time I played it, it felt like a completely different experience in the first game or when the second game launched. And actually, how Eric described that is how I feel about Division 2. Something about Division 2 has clicked with me really, really hard. And I've pumped a shit ton of time to that game. But now I'm stuck in the end game because the end game is bullshit.
I can't do Division, honestly. I can't do most Tom Clancy games anymore because I think
this one feels the least Tom Clancy-y, though, for some reason.
I'll give it that. It does. But the stink is still there. And I can't.
Yeah, I got relatively deep into the first one when it was on Game Pass, and then I just got to a point that I was frustrated because it's like, whoa, you don't have a high enough level hoodie or what the fuck I needed, and I couldn't deal with the grind on that. I mean, I was enjoying it, but I was like, I don't want to do this.
So Division 2 has a pretty awesome you think the story is going to end. It's like, well, you have to apprehend the fucking president because he's a traitor and he's working for whoever the fuck. You're like, wow, that was awesome. And I've cleaned up all the city and I've taken over all the strongholds and we've taken back DC. Hoorah! A cutscene plays. A private military moves in, takes the whole city back. You have to win it back again.
A
single cutscene.
Go ahead.
My favorite thing about Division is
I'm saying it was just a single cutscene. I'm just saying it was very dismissive of your efforts.
My favorite part of the Division always is seeing videos of people in the Dark Zone just running train on everyone else.
Just being dicks.
Yeah, it's just the most dickery I've ever seen in a video game.
I think that's the thing that I liked initially about Division 1, and I'd like to try Division 2 at some point, is that it feels like, yes, this is a multiplayer game at its core, but it's kind of geared to be able to be played by a single player if you really want to. You just have to be smart about it.
And Arlen and Eric, I don't know if you've played Division, but the Dark Zone is this multiplayer affair where you go into a badly infected area. It's kind of like a free-for-all, so you can kind of team up with people. You can just go rogue the whole time. The problem is you'll group up with someone and you'll wait for you'll be extracting gear, and someone's like, betrayal, and shoots everybody with a fucking shotgun and takes all the gear and runs off. You never see that person ever again.
That does not sound fun to me.
No, I've never enjoyed the Dark Zone.
That's why it's completely optional, because my heart can't handle that assholery.
Yeah.
Something on Game Pass I just recently beat, and I know I've probably mentioned it in the chat once or twice, but it's a game called Children of Morta, and it is so goddamn good. It's a twin-stick roguelike, and it's fantasy-based, and it's got a 16-bit art style, but the art is so beautifully done, and the narrator is so goddamn good. It's a ton of fun, and it was something that I'm normally kind of with roguelikes, but I just kept coming back to this over and over, to the point that I was leveling up characters I didn't even use that much just because I was having such a good time with it.
Shit.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass. It's been there for a while, so I don't know how long it's going to be on there, but that was kind of my impetus to finally beat it. But yeah, it's it's a lot of fun, and it's actually a decent length game too. So it's totally worth everybody's time, whoever has Game Pass, because I'm shocked how good it was and how little press it's gotten.
I was gawking at that the other day because I was like, this kind of looks interesting. For some reason, I think I didn't download it. Probably to check to see if Mortal Kombat 11's been fucking fixed yet.
Nah. I'm done with Mortal Kombat 11.
Here's the problem. Here's the thing. The Aftermath story, if you're not going to play it, just watch it on YouTube. It's like an hour and a half. It is the Shang Tsung show, and it is fucking awesome. It's almost better than the Mortal Kombat 9 story mode. It's all about, like, the villains get to step up and take center stage. The problem is you get to chapter 17 when, like, shit is hitting the fan for Earthrealm Warriors and the game crashes.
Oh, good.
Nice. Great.
Invariably, every time when I start it.
That's great.
It's fun. And for a minute, I couldn't complete towers either. When I got to the Chronica part of a tower, it would just crash.
My favorite part of MK11 so far is watching Peter Weller be Sassy the Kano. I'll just go on fucking YouTube and watch all RoboCop's intros, and that's the most fun I've had with MK11 so far.
Well, I will give them credit, which, I mean, I shouldn't be that surprised. Like, with the One Brutality, they reenact the Peter Weller's or Murphy's death scene from the original RoboCop.
You can reenact his death in various ways.
But the One Brutality is specifically, like, he goes up and, like, stands on his arm and shoots his hand off, and then, like, I think shoots him in the chest and then shoots him through the head, which unfortunately they don't have camera pan around. I don't know why they didn't do fatality. But the thing I noticed is you hear Peter Weller say, "No, please," when that brutality is going on.
Oh my God.
That made me so happy.
It is rather amusing to get a RoboCop versus Terminator fight going and have Peter Weller step out and be totally authentic, and, like, you're hearing new RoboCop lines. That fucking Arnold standing comes out and goes, "You must be terminated."
You know what's even better is when Spawn and what's his name? Spawn references Soul Calibur. It's so good. Yeah, he'll be like, yeah, the soul still burns. It's so good.
I've never seen that. I've seen him reference Batman, and apparently him and Batman are chums in this fucking universe.
Because of all the crossovers they've had.
Yeah.
That's great. Somebody did their research when they were doing this game.
Well, it's like a 3-layered reference because someone from the Mortal Kombat cast will reference Batman, which is an Injustice reference, and then Spawn's like, "Oh yeah, I know Bruce."
Oh no! Now I remember what the context is. It's Spawn meeting Sub-Zero, and Sub-Zero goes, "There's still injustice in this world," and Spawn goes, "Yes, but the soul still burns." And it's really
God.
That's great.
Like when Raiden and Sub-Zero have a fight, and one of them goes like, "We jump to a different Earth and team up with some superheroes," and Sub-Zero's like, "Yes, that happened, Raiden." And he's like, "Okay."
Love hard confirming canon. I love that.
Might as well. So, I guess we should talk a little bit more about all the announcements that came with Sony. Like, what was it, yesterday?
Demon's Souls remake. Oh my God.
That game looks beautiful. I'm not going to play it.
I recommend it.
Demon's Souls is, like, probably my favorite Souls game. Like, the one that I got into the most. It's just incredible for its time. I get, like, why people that like Dark Souls better, but it's totally worth going back to.
I don't want people to think I don't like Souls games, because I do. It's just I don't want to play another one, if that makes sense. I just don't feel like I have to. Like,
all I want to play is those games forever.
I know, and I don't have the same reverence you have for it, unfortunately. It's like,
I will say Demon's Souls is interesting because, one, the story is very like Final Fantasy as done by H.P. Lovecraft. So you're kind of very JRPG looking fantasy setting, and then like, oh yeah, there's a big giant black toothed nebulous horror coming from somewhere out there, and it's going to come swallow the fucking earth.
Did you see how the Abyss Demon is basically a Doom enemy now?
Yes.
That's crazy. I'm gonna watch someone else play this.
Eric, with you saying that like you enjoyed Demon's Souls out of all the Souls games, thinking back on it, I honestly think I had the most fun with Demon's Souls because when it first came out, like nobody really knew anything about it. Like everybody was just kind of like, "What the fuck do I do here?" And you would have to go into message boards to really figure out how to get through certain areas. I don't know if this was your experience with it.
My experience with it was buying the game when it came out, dying 100 times in the same spot, not touching the game for like 2 years, and then going back to it and it becoming like one of my favorite games.
My first experience with that game was my friend Amr introduced me to it, and he was so gung-ho about me trying it to the point where he left me his PS3 at my apartment. He said, like, I'm just going to leave it here. He's like, just you play it tonight. He's like, let me know how it is. I sat down with it, played it for an hour, and texted him and said, come get this piece of shit out of my house.
Yeah, Demon Souls was like, I'd gotten a PS3 when they first did the redesign of it for Christmas from my wife, and Demon Souls was one of the first games I got with Metal Gear Solid, like 5, I guess it was, whatever one Old Snake was in. And I remember like I was playing Metal Gear Solid, and I was like, okay, this is good. And then I got into Demon Souls, like, what? Huh? And then, like,
how do I do anything?
I just kept beating my head against it and like going onto message boards and being like, oh, okay, oh shit, no, fuck, I screwed that up. Oh no, I screwed this up permanently, and now I need to go back and restart.
And that was the thing. The game introduced Arlen. The game introduced a thing called world states, actually, and to Hunter too. And world states were affected by how many times you died, how many NPCs you've killed, how many co-op players have died in your world, and the more that happens, the game gets harder and it gets more bleak and depressing as you go along.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Enemies who weren't in an area before will suddenly have a bunch of enemies, or areas you went to before will have new enemies that weren't there before you had a bad world state.
Or even harder enemies like the Red Eye.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Demon Souls is the last game that'll ever come out that came out and people were like, "What the fuck?" Because it doesn't happen anymore. Like games used to be, especially in like the NES and the SNES era, like a game would come out and you wouldn't know how to play it, and then you'd have to learn how to play it through basically through community, which is crazy because Demon Souls, from what I've heard and like documentaries about it or something, like documentaries in quotes.
Documentary Demon Souls documentary series.
It's like Sony didn't have a lot of confidence in Demon Souls. It was like they weren't sure people were going to get it, and luckily people did, and we have this incredible new genre because of it. And
for better or worse.
Yeah, I think
for better or worse. You're right, Connor.
Yeah. You're right on the whole surprise thing. Even as somebody who doesn't pay the most attention, like you can see your favorite video game reviewer or YouTuber like playing these games before they've even come out. In some cases, not even in a review setting, you can just watch them playing it for an hour, and you can get a sense of like how it plays. And that's when I am like, oh, that game looks interesting. I might decide to go for it. I will just like go to YouTube sites like that or videos like that, and I'll be like, okay, well, how does this play? How does this look? So I definitely think you're right about the whole not knowing what something is. I think that's definitely done for the most part.
To add to that, I was gonna say, as far as like purely how to break it or how to beat it, Kiro is the new champion of how the fuck do I do this?
Yeah.
I love that game. I can't advance past the first 3 hours. It is such a fucking brutal ass whooping I take every time I put the game down for months.
That's the thing. Like, I probably haven't touched the game in over a year, and I know it would take me probably about 3 months to get back into the flow of things.
I'm going to be honest. I don't really like Sekiro that much, and it's not because it's difficult. I think there's a lot of parts in that game that I feel like it's just a very mean-spirited game. And it's not, the difficulty is secondary. It's just like, they wanted to make such a straightforward game, and yet there's bosses who have fake deaths, and it's just not. I don't think it's just. I just don't think it's cohesive. I'm not a big fan of it.
I think the biggest thing for me with it initially was retraining myself to be aggressive at all times. Like, and it's so counter to everything that people who've played Dark Souls games have learned. Like, you are mostly, I mean, unless you're going through on like New Game plus 12, like, to be very cautious when you're walking through stuff. But with Sekiro, they're just like, no, go attack the thing a lot. Just go stab it as much as you possibly can and quickly amount of time as you can, and then back up. And it's so counterproductive to, or counterintuitive to, what you've gotten used to with Souls games.
To me, it feels like the exact opposite of the Souls game philosophy.
It requires far more patience, because in Dark Souls 3, like, my New Game Plus file, like my big one, like, it's a fucking joke. I run up to like advanced enemies, I'm like, haha, big sword, go bonk, and just start fucking smacking things around.
It's just,
I play Sekiro with the same enthusiasm. I'm like, I just got my ass kicked.
Yeah.
It just, I don't think going the opposite direction was a smart design choice, and I think it kind of exposes a weakness in the idea that you can make a game like this.
I mean, really, they should have just come out with another Tenchu. But
yeah, they probably should have just made Tenchu.
Yeah.
Like Tenchu, I don't have reverence for Tenchu.
Oh, dude, like that was a game that helped me survive living in Pittsburgh. Like, that game was amazing at the time. The first one, like, once it clicked, it was just like, oh, okay. Like, getting to all the different, like, stealth kills on people. Like, oh, I throw this rice ball from this roof, and then I can go kill this guard, and then I can do this. Like, it taught me how to strategize in games like that.
Tenchu is like, I could not describe it to people if I like had a gun to my head, honestly. Because it's it's a stealth game, but also I think it's one of the first stealth games I've ever played where you actually have to really think about an area.
Yeah,
because it's very different from most stealth games, and it's good. I don't know. I think a modern Tenchu probably would have been better.
Oh, it's like the original Tenchu. I didn't really play any of the sequels. It's very much like a clockwork stealth game. Like, every moving piece has a place where it belongs, and you need to figure out how to move along with it to potentially jam up the gears at a later point to make everything fall into place for you.
Yeah, it's actually it's very impressive for the time it came out. Honestly,
definitely on the original PlayStation. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. So what else was announced at the Sony thing?
So there was a bunch of stuff. The one I think I could talk for hours about is RE8.
Yeah,
that is a fucking wacky ass trailer. I have no idea what's going on there.
It has so much going on. It has RE4 influences. It looks like it has. It looks like it has werewolves, vampire women.
Yes. Well, I think that's a coven of witches, is what that is.
There's hints that they might be. It also has Frank Castle, Chris Redfield, which is great.
I can't believe that this is the same series, it's the same canon, where 3 games ago, main titles, Chris Redfield was a roided up superhero punching the shit out of a rock. Now he's this like hyper grounded old man.
Resident Evil 7 kind of reset the continuity.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Also, Joe was telling me that supposedly Resident Evil 7 takes place after 5. And I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's true. It could be. It very well could be, knowing Capcom, honestly. But
right. I think it could be them retconning 6 and just saying that never happened.
They retcon everything. That company does not have.
I mean, what happened in 6 is there to retcon? That game is full of fucking nothing.
Well, I guess Wesker's son. That's the really biggest thing they could retcon.
But see, that's my issue with saying that 7 is supposed to be taking place after 5. All right, fine. Let's go down this rabbit hole and say that is the Bible truth, whatever phrase you want to use. Why would they name a gun after a known terrorist who almost destroyed the world? His machinations to bring about BOWs and zombies. Because that's what happens at the end of 7, is Chris Redfield throws you a gun, Wesker, that you use to kill the last.
Oh wait, it is Wesker. You're right. Wow, I didn't put that together till now. Holy shit.
Yeah.
The same reason that George Zimmerman sells autographed Skittles packets.
Oh,
That's
God,
the worst
don't
joke
even
I'll ever tell.
Don't even get me started.
God damn.
So that's why I'm completely of the opinion that 7 was just them saying, like, yes, it's Resident Evil 7,
Right.
but all that anime porn poppycock we had before doesn't exist anymore.
Don't slander those CGI movies. They're so fun because they're the dumbest things I've ever seen.
So the last Damnation, I think, is the one that one is pretty fun. Like, honestly,
Is that the one where
is it
people
the one
get
with the-
nuked at a wedding?
Yes.
yeah.
What?
It's fucking
Okay,
stupid.
One is the funniest fucking tragedy I've ever seen in my life. Okay, it's 2 shots. It's like quick, like kind of a collection of like people at this wedding, and then shot of a missile coming from absolutely nowhere, and it zooms in on the husband's face. He goes, and then mushroom cloud.
Isn't it like right in between them saying their vows?
Along those lines, and then like it's the funniest fucking cut ever, and then it comes back to him. He somehow survived this. He lifts up his severed arm, his wife's fucking severed arm with a ring attached to it. I was like, was I supposed to be horrified by all this? Because it's the funniest thing I've seen all day.
It is so funny.
I just
there
put a
it
link
is.
to it in the chat.
Oh my god, it's
Also, say what you will about that movie, it looks pretty good.
Oh, Vendetta.
there's a massive plot hole in that movie though, because after Leon and Chris,
Resident Evil movie?
I know, yeah, there. They cure the infected at the end of that movie, but in the middle of that movie, Chris and Leon murder like 95 zombies in a hallway. I'm like, that's 95 people you could have cured.
Essentially, the church scene from Kingsman, but with the zombies. It's fucking awesome.
It's gun kata to the max.
So back to RE8 or Village, whatever you call it. I wanted to put this out there so it's actually on audio recording. So if I'm right, there's proof that I knew what I was talking about. And if I'm wrong, just ignore this. There's a gentleman trailer, John glasses, and I'm convinced that's Lewis from RE4.
It looks exactly like him.
They're going to repurpose him for this. And the werewolf dude, after watching the trailer again, I'm less convinced of this, but I'm still on like a 60-40 level, let's say, that you're going to be able to become a werewolf at some point.
I was thinking that it was Chris for like the first.
Say no more.
That too.
What
now?
Say no more. I get to be a werewolf.
I don't know for sure, but that's my guess because it seemed to be placing a lot of emphasis on that, and Hunter, I do kind of agree with you that it could also be Chris.
I also had an insane theory that was quickly dismissed after watching again, that the old man was Leon, and I was like, that is not Leon. That is definitely not Leon.
A theory that I killed after a single extra viewing.
Yeah, I know. I killed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. Capcom seemingly bringing this new direction in the right way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's not till 2021, so they've got a lot of time to hopefully bring about this promise that they've set out with the trailer.
Yeah,
I've never played 7 so far.
Oh,
you should play.
Me too. 7's great.
Here's the problem, and this is a problem I have with games like Outlast, other first-person horror games. Like those kind of games, very, very effectively zero in on all my anxieties. I get physically uncomfortable playing them after too long, and like Resident Evil, I think the demo, like the what is it, like the tape 1, whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, the house.
Yeah, that shit makes me so tense because like I'm playing with headphones on. I'm like, everything's creaking. Like I don't know where things are like within relation to me. There's stuff that's moving when I'm not looking at it. This place, I can hear the fucking flies.
No, I'm the same way. I can't do first-person horror.
I will say this:
which game? Because no, thank you.
I will say this: after the first hour, it becomes less scary.
Yeah, it opens up quite a bit. So that trail or that demo wasn't really indicative of what the whole game is like.
Yeah, I heard it gets you get more of a physical advantage as the game goes on. Like you're not helpless like you are in other first person horror games.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Outlast is like, hey, the thing saw you, you're dead.
I couldn't even finish Outlast 2 because that bullshit. That game, I like the first Outlast. I think it's very interesting. The second one is complete bullshit, in my opinion. I just cannot. I hate it.
Second one scared the shit out of me, first of all, and then as soon as I was killed via a barbed wire pickaxe to the nuts, in first person, I was like, you know what?
That is a hat on a hat. That's unnecessary. Why do we need this?
I mean, that just sounds like the way that Looney Tunes is going since Yosemite
Yeah.
said that Elmer Fudd can't have guns.
Comrade Sam.
Yeah. The true Sam.
I like the idea of Elmer Fudd giving some soliloquy, just like, I am a representation of the deaths that you've been avoiding your whole life, Bugs. Come and meet the Reaper.
I'm the angel of death.
I'm everything you've ever been afraid of happening to you.
I am the Omega Bugs.
Come and embrace me. Suckle from me.
God, embrace me.
Embrace the cold sleep.
It's Werner Herzog. Yeah. So Arlen, Eric,
you have avoided escaping your mortal coil for years now.
You are hair of the rabbit.
Time to come home.
Arlen, Eric, did you guys watch any of the PlayStation reveals?
Speaking of Resident Evil, we got to see more of the new Shinji Mikami game, Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yes.
And that game looks incredible. That looks like the reason I'm gonna get a PS5, I think.
Yeah. Did you ever play, what is it? It was a game on GameCube, Killer 7, I think?
Yep,
did you ever play that, Eric?
No, I've never. I've seen some of it, but never played it at the time.
Just after having finally watched the trailer today for Tokyo Ghostwire, is it Ghostwire Tokyo? I can't remember.
Or Tokyo Ghost.
What is? Oh, Jesus! All right, terribly wrong. There's something about it that just made me think about Killer 7, and I know that was a Grasshopper Studio game, but there's something that seemed kind of strangely familiar. Maybe it's an old man talking to clouds right now, but I don't know. There's just something about it that struck me kind of Killer 7.
That game is what I like to call hunter bait, where everything about it is designed for me.
Does that
cel-shaded luchadors with guns?
Yeah.
Does that also include the woman who was the producer of the game that left?
Maybe.
I will say, watching that presentation, I was like, "Oh, Connor's gonna be excited. Hunter's gonna be excited." I was just thinking of the different people. Like,
I'm getting excited for other people.
Yeah.
From that first presentation we got like a few years ago, it got the vibe right, but like as soon as this trailer became a first-person action game where the main character was using basically Naruto jutsu on weird creatures, I was all in already.
Yes.
It looks so fun to play. That's the thing. And I don't really like third-person games a lot. Like they have to be more action oriented for me to enjoy them. Like so as soon as the camera went first person and the character started using like weird powers, it looks so cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing in the trailer I was curious about, because it looked like the characters reaching in and grabbing, like, I don't want to say their hearts, but some sort of weird power core inside the bad guys. And I'm wondering what exactly the story is going to be. If like these are just simulations, or if you're in some sort of computer program, or what the.
From what I've heard described about it, it sounds like some sort of like dimensional breach or something. It sounds like these ghosts that are appearing kind of just appeared in Tokyo and destroyed everything.
So they're from an alternate dimension, and you're just murdering.
You know what? It may be like Pulse, Connor. I've never seen Pulse.
I was about to say this sounds like if Pulse swung the other way. It's like, oh, you want to invade our city?
Oh God!
I was going to
Fuck
say
you up,
Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. That was going to be my reference.
Oh yeah. Well, then you have a backpack that is a ghost. So
yes, obviously.
People were killed by literal space ghosts.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. In the craziest ways anybody's ever put on screen. Just insane deaths in that.
It's a cool effect because like it does look, it like rends their soul from their body. Like
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
To answer the question of did I watch the conference, I watched this conference and the Xbox conference live because of a younger sibling who is just all in on video games, and they decided that I should watch them, so I did. And I watched them live, and I was like, all right, none of this really like super exciting.
I felt nothing.
Well, it's because it's a lot of stuff where I was like, I don't know what this is. I have no context for a majority of this. And I hadn't heard anything about them beforehand. So everything outside of Miles Morales, I was like, I don't know what I'm looking at right now. A lot of it looked very pretty. And yeah, as I would expect, for them to do, I would expect them to put out their prettiest games first so that we can, be mulled over and impressed by whatever they're doing.
Arlen, I would say you also need a very specific curveball thrown your way before you will commit to playing.
Yeah.
I love that your description of the feed was basically what my grandparents, if they were still alive, would say. It was very pretty. I don't know what anything
idea. I had no idea what was going on.
Nothing appealed to me, but it looked very nice.
Exactly. Like
it was moving, so like held my attention.
Right. Like Ratchet and Clank came on screen. I was like, okay, well, I know what that is, so I have some reference for what that is.
Yeah, God, I forgot they even had a trailer for that. I watched the trailer for that yet. It's just fine. It looks like more Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah. It looks like a sequel to that PS4 game. That's fine.
And supposedly, it's a sequel to the main games, not the movie, which is good.
I mean, yeah, that's good.
There's a movie?
Oh, you don't know what the movie? So
we should have talked about this.
Clank. It's a Ratchet and Clank movie?
Yeah,
an animated movie, yeah.
So Sony, a few years ago, decided they were going to make a Sly Cooper and Ratchet and Clank movie. The Sly Cooper movie never came out, and the Ratchet and Clank movie did, and it was wildly
surprise.
And probably the sandwich lordess herself. She was probably responsible for that. So
have you seen the movie Hunter?
I have seen it.
Okay.
It's okay.
I heard it's just the story of that game that came out the same year, and like for a game, that's a fine story. For a movie, there's nothing there.
Yeah, right. No, it's very bland.
Mm. Yeah.
I think it got like a 7% on Rotten Tomatoes or something like that. Something incredibly bad.
That's still better than that movie or that Netflix show Killer Be Killed, or not Killer Be Killed. What is it? The Last Days of American Crime. I think that got a 0.
Oh, it's funny mention Netflix because a long time ago when Netflix was first getting to streaming, I found in their catalog a movie based on Onimusha: Dawn of Dreams.
Oh my god!
What?
It's like I was like, holy shit! I didn't know this existed. I started. You know what it is? An aggressively compressed version of the cutscenes from the game, stitched together and released on Netflix.
I love that.
So a YouTube video that somebody put on Netflix is what you're telling me.
Yeah, I love that so much. That is so stupid.
Wait, was that the one that had Jean Reno in it, or the third?
It was 3. 4 is when you get the blonde, like half pony dude.
Who
I love that. Is my favorite Onimusha game.
You remember when the big selling point for Onimusha was they mocap the horse?
Or that 2 was being made with an actor who was dead for 50 years at that point.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I love that 3. They're just like, yeah, we've got the guy from part 1 back, and Jean Reno.
And
he's great.
I like Jean Reno as an actor, but it's just like, is he really the right choice for this?
Why is he an
Onimusha? The thing is, like, you paid for his. Because they paid for his face, but they didn't seem to care for his voice because he speaks French for about 4 seconds. Then through the magic of bullshit or the bullshit of magic, however you want to say that, like one of the good demon fairies is like, now you all speak the same language, English. And some other voice actor comes in to voice Jean Reno's character.
That was post like Leon when everyone wanted like some Jean Reno. That's why he is in that bad Godzilla movie and just like being there, being French and doing nothing else, complaining about coffee like 6 times.
Yeah,
good on him for taking that ball and running with it as much as he could, because I'm sure he knew there was a countdown clock going on as soon as he was in a film that people really liked him.
exactly.
Like I think after what was it? The Professional. He's like, all right, I've got maybe 3 or 4 years left before people realize they don't really like me that much. Let's do this.
He's like, I'm going to do a movie with De Niro. I'm going to do everything.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Yes, just everything.
Yeah. I mean, hey, he got his money. He got paid, so that's good.
Exactly.
On the conference thing, I think the dumbest video game title I've ever heard happened during this conference.
Returnal?
Yeah, Returnal. Which, honestly, it looks good, but that is the dumbest title I've fucking ever heard.
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time. Returnal?
Returnal.
Wait, is that the one that looks like a poor man's version of Death Stranding?
No, that's a Capcom game.
Yeah, Pragmata. That game is nowhere near done.
No, this is the one where I guess it's the people from Dead Space. That's what my sibling told me.
It's Housemarque that made Resogun and Super Stardust and like some just twin stick shooters, yeah. And they're making a bigger thing, yeah.
Okay.
Returnal has the Tilda Swinton lookalike.
Right. Yeah. The design is very, very cool. When the main character comes on screen, I'm like, oh, they found someone who kind of looks like Sigourney Weaver for this game. That's kind of like an alien knockoff, at least from the story. It's like stranded on a planet full of demons, it looks like, or something.
Yeah, it's like cool visuals mixed with what seems to be how do I describe this?
It's like Edge of Tomorrow. Like you die and the world changes every time you die.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like procedurally generated.
Do you want to know what comes up when I Google The Returnal? Hang on. A movie with Sarah Michelle Gellar. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
Nope.
Star Trek: The Next Generation book called The Return. And The Return of Swamp Thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's probably why they called it Returnal, because they're hoping the SEO will eventually...
It's because they want everyone to confuse it with Revengeance, which is a far better game.
That is a better terrible name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I only played a few minutes of Revengeance, and I loved those few minutes, but it also is, like, somehow worse than Kojima bullshit, because it's, like, Kojima bullshit... Like shoved up its own ass and then set on fire.
Do you know what happens in that game?
I mean, vaguely, yeah.
You know how it predicted Donald Trump?
You fight the president at the end of the game.
Yeah, and guess what he says, Connor? He says, "Make America Great Again."
Yeah.
You fucking kidding me?
I'm not joking. He says it.
And on top of that, that is the hardest boss fight on the face of this planet. Somebody find me a harder boss fight than that, because I couldn't beat it. Like, it was the worst.
Swords. He's just a big buff dude.
Yeah, he's injected with like nanobites or whatever the fuck, nano machine, something nano ridiculous that it's like, oh, that's why he can stand you hitting him with this.
That is the
ridiculous sword.
explanation for every superpower in Metal Gear. Someone's like, that guy can shoot fire, control bees, and chew an entire tree, by himself, and he can eat a whole cat. What is it? Nanomachines.
Nanomachines. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How you played Castlevania.
Yeah, that's Hunter's saying like it's worse than Kojima shit. Like it's very accurate. It's like someone found a regurgitated story from Kojima and took the parts that were still whole and just kind of put them together. It's like, this'll do.
He wasn't.
It's that comic where it says like someone makes something for you. Like it's that comic where it says like someone else made this. Looks around, looks left. I made this.
So the story behind it is Konami was making it without Kojima because he didn't want any part of it. And Kojima basically saw what they were doing and was like, yeah, this is shit. Let's have Platinum work on it. And then Platinum made a really good character action game.
That's ridiculously punishing if you don't learn how to flex stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's funny about that final boss bit is that I believe in real life Donald Trump would be a horrible boss fight because like he's such a piece of shit and reacts to nothing. I think you could kill him where he stands and just get up and go like fake news.
Fake news.
God damn it.
Jet Street Sam didn't. Please protect me.
Oh God.
So what else was at the showing? Because now we're
Well,
getting
there's
into
that game that
territory
looks like Beastars. I wonder if Hunter was into that.
No, I'm not interested in that game at all. Honestly.
You sure? You sure? About it?
I do want to talk about Project Athia because interesting tidbit about that. It's being written by the same guy who wrote Rogue One, so
Interesting.
it's pretty cool. Also, it's pretty much there was a tech demo that came out for Final Fantasy VII remake, like I want to say 5 years ago, and it basically is identical to that. So I wonder if they took that and remade it into an actual game.
I think from what I understand, they took that and gave it to Gary Whitta, the writer.
Yeah,
and said, like make us a story for a game.
It looks cool. I
It's a
like
writing
that.
prompt.
Yeah, it does look cool.
I'm excited for
The
that.
designs look really cool. Yeah.
Can we talk about Bug Snacks really
But
quick?
Bug snacks.
That song was amazing, and like the Caro Bonito song.
Yes.
That
looks-
was good.
It looks horrifying. I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's from the Octodad people, and Octodad is such a funny game to play.
So the
Okay.
concept behind it is there are a bunch of bugs made out of food. Like there's a caterpillar made out of sandwiches. And if you eat one of them, your body will turn into that food.
What?
Yeah, it's fucking scary. I can't wait.
What?
Yeah. It looks insane.
And the developer said like the dev said on Twitter, I think like people thought our trailer was weird, but the weird stuff in our game wasn't even in the trailers. I guess.
What happens to you? I lost all Hunter in the second half of the sentence. What happens to you when you eat one of these things?
Your body becomes that food.
That
And
Oh,
it's fucking hilarious. I love
it's
it.
realistic Kirby, man. That's what it is. It's,
What is the name of this game again?
Bug
Bug
Snacks.
snacks.
Bug
Yes.
Snacks.
You're not the only person to be confused. I was watching them announce it, and everybody in the room was like, "Butt snacks."
Well, it seems like a really odd choice to have at the, hey, here's our hot new system with all these amazing games. Look at this and Bug Snacks.
Thank you all for sticking around for our giant releases. Here comes the poop stain.
Well,
It's
we're
just-
if it ended on Bug snacks. If they
Yes.
just-
Again, we're very
Yeah.
proud to now. Bug
The
Snacks.
Octodad guys are known for that, so it's not too crazy for them. I think it's cool that Sony's funding this because it's genuinely an interesting concept. Even if it is weird, like I like seeing this kind of stuff beyond the main stage because someone needs to let these games be made.
Yeah,
Well, Sony. Oh, go ahead, Eric.
Yes, Sony. When the PS4 launched, Sony had like so many indie games on their stage. They had like some Firewatch and The Witness and stuff like that. A bunch of, and then they kind of as they were more successful, they had less and less indie games in their shows.
Yes,
And it's
they
nice
did.
for them to get back to it, because I feel like Xbox has been a lot better on that end, and I enjoy smaller games most of the time way more than I enjoy the bigger stuff. I just like going from one small interesting thing to the other, and like there were a few really interesting things here, like Stray, the game where you play as a cat with a backpack in like a cyberpunk world where humanity doesn't exist anymore. It's just robots, and you're a cat. It looks like a good time.
That's got to be terrifying as a living creature, and knowing that there's nothing but non-living creatures around you at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And why does the cat have a backpack?
Because it's a cat with a backpack.
He's gonna put his stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
He's
Well
got
argued.
He's got a job, Eric.
Bugsnax sounds like a game that I would watch someone play on YouTube and cackle my ass off, just like I Am Bread or something like that.
It sounds like Eric pointing out that like Sony going back into doing some more indie games, which I 100% agree with. Like when the PS4 first was coming out, they're like, look at all this indie shit. Look at it. It's so cool. And then like, oh wait, this sold really well. But it gives me hope that something like another Nobi or like Katamari Damacy will come out again, because I fucking love Katamari Damacy.
Did you play Watam, the most recent game?
No, I didn't know he had another game.
Yeah, it came out in December.
It's
a weird game.
It's on everything, I think.
Oh wait, is it like you're just, it's a lot of primary colors and shit? I think I did. I think it's on Game Pass actually.
It's really cool. I wish I could remember what the core concept was, but like I remember playing it and really enjoying it.
Let me see, because I had seen one that like I don't even know how to explain it. Like there's one point where like you're trying to help sunlight get better, and then you have to help the grass like become better grass. But maybe I'm thinking of a different game that I saw something like that.
Watam is the one with the fruits.
Watam is the one that I saw. Like, yeah, that's certainly that game.
It's fun. I generally like enjoy playing that game. It's
it's only on PS4 and Microsoft Windows. So
okay. Damn. Well,
yeah. Anything else that springs to mind from the conference?
I haven't seen it yet, but since I didn't hear about a Legacy of Kain remake, the whole thing sucks.
Alright, you're gonna be waiting a little bit if it is coming.
Actually, on the note of things that might or might not be coming, how about that news about Warner Brothers and AT&T? Oh no!
Classic news.
Yeah. Wait, so you're telling me Warner Brothers, against all possible odds, is going to do something really stupid again?
Here's the mind-blowing thing to me is like AT&T is $100 billion in debt. Like,
yeah, how did that happen?
It's allowed to exist.
Like it, for Warner Brother the gaming division, for them to just sell that off, like what happens to all those rights? And I know, well, because NetherRealm will keep Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat's not going anywhere. But Arkham and all the DC stuff,
games,
Mordor, the Harry Potter game.
I forgot about that.
So Jason Schreier was on Twitter today saying that's still happening. So I think that no matter what, that's coming out.
I wonder if that was supposed to be announced like now, and then J.K. Rowling was doing that she was, and it didn't.
Yeah.
I'm starting to wonder too, because it's coming up on the point where I know it's a next gen game. We all know it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But was it supposed to be a launch game?
That's the thing, because I remember seeing like the bootleg footage for that game a while ago.
It was like 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
So long. It's so weird that we haven't seen more.
No, we haven't heard a single thing about it. That's kind of worrisome, because it looked really cool. Like I even showed my wife, and she's like, I might actually play a video game.
I think from what I read from Jason Schreier, Warner Brothers was supposed to have an E3 press conference where they were supposed to announce that, show the Batman game, and show whatever Rocksteady is doing, like those 3 separate games, which makes reason enough for a conference, but then no more E3. And now, I guess, since they're trying to sell the whole thing, they want to keep like those announcements available as part of the sale.
Well,
makes sense.
The speculation is that AT&T is trying to cut a deal where those games will still come out, but they will receive a percentage of the profits.
Oh.
Because a lot of those games are way too far into development to just scrap them, unfortunately. Well, fortunately. Not
yeah, no, if they were going to show them at E3, they're probably like not that far. Like other companies that aren't Square Enix don't show games that are years away anymore.
Warner Brothers is actually one of the few companies who will reveal stuff when they're close to completion. So
I think Mortal Kombat was announced and released, the new one 4 months apart, 5 months apart.
Something like that, yeah.
The craziest one was Shadow of War, where that was 3 months.
Yeah.
I think you can track the Mad Max development back to 2008.
Yeah.
Which is shocking.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that had some issues in changing a plan.
Well, I think a lot of that had to do with Fury Road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But you can go back and find screenshots and footage of a game that looks nothing like what you have now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I can't believe that Warner Brothers would sign on, because wasn't it Warner Brothers acquired AT&T with the whole deal?
AT&T acquired Warner Brothers.
Then how the fuck?
I don't know.
That just seems like maybe this shouldn't be allowed if they're in that much debt.
So say, how do you buy things when you don't have money?
Yeah, well, they're a company; it doesn't matter,
right?
Because America. But no, it seems like that's an astronomical sum to be that far into debt. That's not something that happens quickly. That's something that's been building up.
What's crazy to me is that they're in so much debt and they're getting rid of such a big part of what they put, because the movies, the DC movies in particular, don't do well. Maybe for the first week they'll do well, and then a big controversy will happen, and then they'll fail. That's usually what happens.
Yeah.
And they're going to get rid of the games, which, for the most part, people like those games.
Yeah, it feels like a dumb decision, I mean, I've had a pitch for a while for how they could make money, for how they could, make up some of that $100 billion of debt. But...
yeah, but it's toxic and it's an affront to society.
But is it, though? Is the Joker phone that much of a problem compared to everything else going on in our life?
You know what? It's just such a dumb decision, and the companies involved are all bad. And it sucks when the best case scenario is Activision. It really does.
I think Activision is the worst case scenario.
No, I'm gonna have to disagree. Take-Two is the worst case scenario, because Take-Two will put out games that actively have spyware in it. So,
oh yeah.
I mean, at least it's not Comcast Universal and whatever shit they own, if they have anything in video games. I don't know if they do. That would be. Oh no!
What great news! I'm glad this happened today.
What has Take-Two put out?
They did Mafia. They're doing the.
Okay, something that people really care about.
Yeah. I like Mafia, and I agree.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they technically own Rockstar. So.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
more Rockstar than it is Take-Two. Take-Two is just like, yeah, we're here for the.
I mean, yes, but then they'll also put out games that you can tell that they're using like the same designs. They're clearly like taking the game that's already made and like swapping out pieces. They're swapping out like pre-made alligator AI from Mafia 3 into Red Dead and doing like an up-res on the skin. So
Jesus, that's very specific. You've been paying attention to the alligators.
I mean, I'm a fan of gators. I can't lie. But no, it's one of those things where it's like I feel like I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2 while I'm playing Mafia 3, and I don't think that that's a coincidence. It could just be that both games are made by very good studios, but who knows?
Yeah, I take back partially what I said about Mafia. Like, I've heard Mafia 3 is good, but I've played the first two, tried to play through them, and I just can't deal with them. They're not fun.
I think they re-released 2 recently, and it's super buggy or something. Like, it's a very bad port.
It like, you get in a car because that's, your best mode of transportation in those games. It's like, oh man, you're speeding, you're going like 50. Like, and it feels like the slowest thing on. It's just it's not fun. It's not fun.
Obey traffic laws, Eric.
And like, you can find old Playboys, like, woohoo. Like, oh boy.
I don't know. I enjoy Mafia for its storytelling and the way it sets up itself as it's a different take on GTA, and people may not like that take, but I think it's interesting.
I haven't seriously played a GTA game. I played through 4, but the last one I really enjoyed was San Andreas.
GTA 4 is my favorite boat simulator of all time.
Yeah.
Cousin.
So, yeah. Mafia 3 is just, I don't know, I had a very good time with it. It was the right balance of you can do whatever you want and chaos and all that, and a story that was fairly compelling, characters that were interesting, with some good performances, I felt, for an open world video game. Pretty extraordinary stuff. And a lead character who's very compelling. Much in the way that Bayek is, actually. Like, it's very, very similar. They're doing a lot of the same things. So yeah, Mafia 3 is definitely one that you should maybe give a shot.
Yeah, I meant to buy it when it was like $10 on Xbox Live, but I was just like, and then just found
that
something
might have
else
been
to play.
worth it.
Yeah, it probably
for
was.
that game. Yeah,
but in the same
that's
sense,
really
though, like, I only have so much time I get to play games.
Sure.
Like, not get to, but I only have so much time that I really realistically down and get into a game, and those huge open world games like that, it's just like 3 hours is not enough for me. Like, I need to be able to sit there and play it for like 7 hours to really be able to dig my teeth into it, and I just don't get to do.
I mean, you could play it the way I do and buy a box truck and just park it in front of bad guy bases, shoot at them, and kill them all within the span of 2 minutes. You can just do it that way and just win the game by just taking advantage of everything that the game gives you. Because that's what I was doing for a while. Just like, I'm going to park this box truck here and you can't shoot through it because it is heavy duty. And I'm just going to destroy every single one of you. I did that in front of a base of KKK members. That was a very rewarding few minutes for me. Great time.
Arlen, are you telling us you're a member of Antifa and you're just plotting out your plans in a video game?
Okay, first of all of Antifa are paid crisis actors. Let's get that straight.
They're all ducks. All of Antifa are ducks.
All they have, they're paying 13-year-olds to throw bricks at cops. That's it.
We apparently lost Connor because he was having issues with desert internet.
Yeah, the internet made of old used condoms and
oh God, and Sammy Davis Jr.'s eyeballs.
Yes.
old slot machines used to make artisanal modems.
That's just the PS5.
Speaking of the PS5, look like I couldn't have guessed that we would get the first vagina console. Like it has one day, and like it has a labia. Congrats!
It does.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah, and it lights up too. That's
good for her.
Jesus Christ. Well, it's just a robot vagina from that cat backpack game.
Yeah, exactly.
Part of me doesn't like the design, and part of me is really into it. Like, I can't decide which is winning in my head right now.
I just want a black one. Like,
yes,
I guess,
yeah.
yes. Mm-hmm. I guess just because of color, it just doesn't fit in my house. Like it's a huge thing. Like it's bigger than even the old PS3. It's standing up. I don't know if anyone has a space for a standing up console. So I just want, like, it looks, the form itself is cool. I just don't like the colors. I need just a black or simple one that I can just fit in my living room and not look like an asshole.
And it's by the Fortnite version of it. So people did the math, and this thing is taller than the PS4. So I don't know where the fuck this thing is going to be on my.
Can it lay on its side though?
You can lay it on.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently they're releasing, like, the stand can detach and it will. Yeah,
okay,
it'll
good.
work. From the pictures that I saw, at least.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I wasn't a big fan of the design at first, and then Gary, former guest on the show, said something like he likes that it's not just another box.
That's fine. I'm fine with that.
And I was into that. I was like, yeah, I get that. It's kind of the Cybertruck way of doing things, where it's like, well, everything else looks like this, so anything other than this is different and interesting. So I kind of respect it on that level, but at the same time, I don't know. And then there's this sort of OCD part of my brain, which we've talked about many times on here, where it's like there's almost a pattern with the previous PlayStation generations, where it's like, this is the one that's kind of round, this one looks like a box, this one's round again, then the other one looks like a box again.
Stuff with like the controller makes me think that they want this one to feel different from the rest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this is supposed to be such a big watershed sort of moment for PlayStation, where they're not doing the same thing again.
Right. It's a BC-80 thing. Yeah.
Well, if that price point is over $500, they're going to have another PS3.
Well, it also, in some ways, it feels like it's a direct response to Microsoft's like reveal of their design, which is just like, it's a box. Yeah. Like it's a tall box, but it's a box.
People shit on that, but I do like the idea behind it, where it's like, this is just your GameCube, essentially.
Yep.
Right.
I
wonder if anybody ever made a system like that before.
No, it makes sense from a design standpoint because it's utilitarian. Right. Like it does the jobs that it's supposed to do. Like having the fans on top means it'll actually cool things better than having them behind the system. So I'm torn between like, well, this one lasts longer than the other, but who the fuck knows at this point? I mean, they probably won't be able to get as many out as they want to based on everything that's going on.
They won't be able to.
Yeah. I think the real groundbreaker is actually the drive thing.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how that will affect things overall. The big bet for previous systems was, well, you can get the new disc player, and I guess that they assumed that just really wasn't as big of a deal anymore, which tells you something about where we are in terms of technology and what people's streaming or home video needs are.
Did you know that the PS4 Pro can't read 4K Blu-rays?
Yep.
It's so I can't buy. I have a PS4 Pro and I can't buy 4K Blu-rays because I don't have anything that can read them. So I think Sony doesn't believe in really believe in that part of it anymore.
Right.
And
Well,
I
they
think
don't believe in their own movies, so
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
The thing with a discless is that driverless PS5 is that, of course, like it's going to cost a bit less to produce, not that much because drives don't cost anything. But the thing is, they can sell it at a loss because when people buy games on that one, they're not paying Walmart, they're paying them directly, and they take 25% of every sale. So, my guess is you're gonna get like one at $450, the other at $550 or something in that range. But still, it's super expensive, and here it's gonna be $200 more because the Canadian dollar is very bad. So I don't know if I'm even gonna be able to afford the console this year.
I heard from what I understand from doing my own research that production on this thing is around $450 for the disc drive version.
Okay,
so it's going to be around $500.
They could do 4 and 500.
Yes, they could. Realistically.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm worried about with the Xbox and seeing how much that thing is going to be, because the fact that they're like, oh yeah, well this is just the top tier one. There's also going to be this one and this one. It's like, oh no.
And you can rent it out there. You can get a subscription.
Yeah.
Well, that's
what they've been going towards for a while, though. The stratified gaming system. Like people in the smartphone market have been talking about how people in games, they want to move towards that because it's more open in terms of what you can sell people and what people can actually afford.
If you miss a payment, Microsoft will come to your house and fight you down.
No, they just erase your game that has the most hours played most recently.
Yeah, and then they repel from your ceiling and kick you in the dead.
The other thing that worries me about the Xbox is the fact that like their proprietary expandable hard drive space, like it's very specific to something that they're producing. You can't just buy like any external hard drive like you can do with the Xbox or even with the PS4. Like you have to buy their particular like plug-in memory ports, which I think there's only one. So you can realistically 2 terabytes, but that's not really enough nowadays for most people.
Yeah, I think the problem with the PS5 as well is that they announced that they're not going to have proprietary, but they also announced that the hard drive you're going to need doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
so more of the same. And also the PS5 is going to be 825 gigabytes, I think. Less than a terabyte.
So
why?
we live in a world where Modern Warfare dropped the update today that was 84 gigs. So I don't understand what these companies are doing when it comes to hard drive space, because it's getting ridiculous. Cause it's a serious issue, and Call of Duty doesn't seem to want to address it. And when they do, it's always super corporate answers. Yeah. So we need more space, and you need to be able to hook up a hard drive to this thing. Like it's just a fact of life.
Yeah, I don't know. They might lean back a little bit more on that once it starts to come out more and people are bringing that up, because like you said, with like Call of Duty, like updates being 80, 90, 100 gigs, it's just like, well, so I can have Call of Duty, which is like however many gigs just to install the game itself, and then I need to do like 3 different gig patches for this to make it work on a monthly basis. Like fuck you and everything you stand for.
Yeah, it's bullshit. Like we shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah, also people are going to be paying for their bandwidth, and if games are going to get bigger than they are already, that's already a lot of money as is. And then you add buying hard drives onto that to store said games that you can't even afford to download. Like, yeah, so they're going to have to, I think they will be forced to lean back on some level or come up with some sort of deal where maybe they're the ones who are paying your broadband provider because...
You're right.
Yeah, I know. I make myself laugh. But yeah, they'll have to come up with something because yikes. But then again, we all remember when Xbox One was first happening, and it has to be on all the time, and so on and so forth, and
you don't really own any of your own games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The guy that said we have a console for people that don't have internet. It's called the Xbox 360.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, that guy went and
ended up working. That. Jesus.
Yeah, that dude ended up going to work for the company that makes Candy Crush, and then they got sold. And then I don't think he's doing anything within the game sphere at this point. Like, he just disappeared. Which, whatever. Fuck that guy. Whatever his name was.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
He probably works for Trump on or something.
Yeah, guaranteed. He's the one who's telling him about video games. I don't know. Do we want to wrap, being it's almost midnight on the East Coast?
Yeah, I think so, wrap, guys.
Yeah. I guess I'll exit us out. This has been an episode of the Phantom Zone After Dark Video Game Edition. I am now your thrust host, Eric Fedorchak. If you want to see anything I'm doing, go to Instagram. There's pictures of things. Also in the Phantom Zone, floating around, doing whatever I'm doing there. Keep fighting that fight, people. Like, it's at the point where things start to deteriorate and people start to forget what's going on. Don't. Like, just push through. It sucks, but you need to keep people aware of what's going on out there. Like, because that's all of these people want, is to have you forget. They want you to see the shiny thing that's holding in their hand. You take away the thing you want. They're right.
Yeah, definitely. Go out and sign those petitions. Go out and donate. If you can, go out and protest. Like, there's things you can do, and like this is something we should all be outraged over, and we are. So we need to show them that we are.
Yeah. With what Hunter said, like, I'm 42. I'm too fucking get shot with pepper spray or what. I donate. Like, I don't donate a lot, but I donate what I can. And I feel like that does a lot more than just showing up to a protest that a lot of people are going to because they want to be seen. But that's me.
Yeah. Look for organization in your community specifically and what you can do to help them. And if you can donate directly to them instead of larger organization, the smaller ones do a lot of the bigger work, so they need volunteers, they need money, and that money goes a long way.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and even if you can't donate money, like, if you're serious, like, go see what you can do to help. Like, that's all any of us should have been doing for this entire time. I mean, I'm guilty. Like, knowing about something going on and being shocked by it aren't the same as actually putting your or your money towards it, like, when it actually comes down to it. So yeah, just go help. See what you can do. You might learn something. You might meet some people you like. You might end up hating people. I don't know. It's, that's part of life. Learn, live, laugh, love.
All day. I don't know how to follow that up. Thanks.
Since I'm here, I'm gonna plug me on Arlen's show. Listen to Los Haro podcast. We just had an episode where we talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger's 80s movies. It's a good fun time. We have a mini series where Arlen forces me to watch the James Bond movies. It's also a good time, even when we talk about bad movies or the good ones. Yeah, go listen to that. And follow me on Twitter. I'm at Sayour. And Black Lives Matter, fuck J.K. Rowling, all cops are bastards. Yes. That's it.
Fuck 12.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else have anything to say, or do you want to close it out?
Yeah, I have one more thing I want to say.
Okay.
Harry Potter is trash. I hate it, and I'm glad it's dead.
I don't know if it's dead, but
no, it's dead.
Harry Potter, but I'm better.
Dead to me.
Good night,
me
everybody.
and Hunter are on the same page. Yeah, fuck those movies. I don't care about the books, but fuck those movies. They're bad films. Snape is an incel. Fight me. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Black Lives Matter.